Call the member for Mount Waverley.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. And what serendipity it is to have the PALSEC for schools sitting there as we talk about this sensational bill on Children's Services Amendment 2019. And I'd like to start by a big special thanks to the Deputy Premier and the Minister for Education for the excellent work he and his office has not only done but is continuing on this bill, but also by building and continuing to deliver the education state. And this bill introduces an overarching framework to regulate all children's services, from long day care, family day care, preschool, outside hours school care, but of course occasional care as well. And it brings those services into line so that our Children's Services Act of 1996 is aligned with the National Quality Framework. And that's about 8% of our early childcare services. Creating a simplified regulatory framework for all Victorian services, no matter which regime they fall under. And the key benefit of this is that simplification. And I think we all agree that less administration where it's not needed is better for all businesses. And the more time that our early childhood educators are spending with the kids instead of in the office doing the paperwork is better for all our kids. Now, before I entered Parliament, a number of years ago, I dipped my toes into the democracy of community-run kindergartens as president for 2 years at the Pinewood Preschool, which is just in my area. And I will say that it was a very good apprenticeship for politics, being the president of a community-run kindergarten. So I'd like to give a big shout-out to the director of the kindergarten, Debbie Brereton, and her whole team, Kirsty, Gail, Gabby, Janine, and another woman, Ray, who worked at Pinewood for decades, retired last year, and I'm sure she's very missed down there. Whilst I'm at it, I'd also like to give a shout out for a local constituent of mine by the name of Asher Newton, who has been president, I think, for the last 3 or 4 years. And before that, he was on the committee. I think as I left, he joined. So he's been there 6 years volunteering to help this great kindergarten run. So big shout out to Asher and all of the committee members for all of the years that this place has run, since I think the 60s. So I know the importance of ensuring early childhood services have strong but simple frameworks, mainly because when I was president in 2011 was when the federal Gillard government, if I remember the year properly, brought in the transition to the National Quality Framework, of which this bill is joining our occasional care sort of alongside, but also the 15 hours universal access for fourth year kindergarten kids. And that was a fantastic initiative that we went from not just state funding but also to federal funding, and the state and federal governments worked together to provide that fourth year for kids. Now, 15 hours, evidence-based, we know the benefits to our kids. And so the visionary initiative of doing similar to our third years is a fantastic goal that we will achieve, and I'm sure we know that the Deputy Premier and Minister of Education will deliver as we go forward. And we're looking very, very keenly towards 2022 when we get our 5 years of subsidised third year kinder in Mount Waverley. So I guess as a father of three, I've had 3 kids through third year kinder, and the member for South Barwon made mention to, I believe, his son, who, when he went to third year kinder, there were aspects that were recognised with his son, that having that extra year kinder provided not only information for parents, but also assistance in sort of mixing socially. And that one extra year can make a lifetime of difference. My own son, Lindsay, it was noted in his third year at kinder that he had some sensory elevations, I guess is a word, and so that was something we once noted we could work on. And the earlier that you can manage some of these things and help your child, then the better life they lead. And so I'm very grateful to the staff at Pinewood, as I mentioned, for assistance in that area. And Lindsay is a great little kid, and you know, we're all very proud. So I think that extra year being provided as we go forward with universal access to it is fantastic. But the member for Cranbourne also mentioned in her fantastic contribution before about the cost of third year kinder. And currently, previously when my kids went to third year kinder, the cost of 5 hours of third year kinder was basically equivalent to the cost of the 15 hours from fourth. So I can well imagine there'll be many families where that is a decision that, although they'd love to send their kids to third year kinder, they just can't. And again, those families will benefit greatly from us rolling out universal third year kinder. Now this bill does some work in the licensing of the Victorian Children's Services regime and aligns that with the Education and Care Services National Law, and adopts the relevant objectives and guiding principles to align our Act more closely with that of the national law, with the primary focus always being on the quality of education and developmental outcomes, as well as the safety, health and well-being of our children. And I'd just like to also mention the volunteers who work in our kinders, the parents who turn up in our community kinders, the committees, whether it be cluster managed or not, the amount of work that goes in. Government, we have a fantastic program coming. We're funding it. If I look down here, I think we've got $1 billion of investment. We've got significant money in the state budget, so we can thank the Treasurer for finding all this with help of the Deputy Minister. $475 million for early childhood infrastructure, $92 million to support early childhood teachers and for more professional development and scholarships. These are significant figures, but the hours that our volunteers do are crucial. And our kinders, especially our community-run kinders, would not function without them. And year after year they turn up. One of my other community kinders in my area is Highmount Kinder. And Lou Skepper is the president down there, and she has been there a number of years. Now, they went to cluster management and they came back. And she has done some excellent work. And I was very happy to be down there earlier in the year to open up their brand new inclusive space through the Inclusive Kindergarten Facilities Grant, and they got $114,000 for that. It's a fantastic space, and the whole place looks so much better, and the kids love it. It's fantastic. So all of our kinders work so hard. Earlier in the year, I was joined by the Parliamentary Secretary for Early Childhood, Member for Carrum, and we went to Essex Heights Juniors and saw their fantastic program because the NQF had just awarded them with exceeding expectations. The quality is there, the work from our government and the focus on our children's lives for today and tomorrow is there. This is the education state. Even though this bill may be a little dry in the actual technicalities that it works on, it allows for the next 10 years of development that this government will push and see and manage in our fantastic education state. We're going to be the first in Australia to introduce kinder for every 3-year-old, giving our littlest Victorians the best possible start in life, and I commend this bill to the House.